Alright, moving on to the rods. What I did is I went ahead and marked all of them off, like I always do. They come with ARP bolts, best bolts out there, okay? Make sure they're nice and clean. The ARP comes with its own assembly fastener torque lubricant. It's recommended to use that instead of Loctite because that's what the SCAT specifications call for. The reason I use the driven assembly grease is because it actually lubricates all the surfaces and it breaks down when you fire up the motor and the heated oil gets in there, and that way it protects the bearings from getting scored while you assemble everything. It keeps it nice and lubed. So I definitely recommend a driven assembly grease. Used to use the Loctite assembly grease, but this, for the bearings, is what you want to use. So I will get back to you as I go through. Always go with the torque specifications from SCAT, okay? And follow this procedure and you will have no problems and your motor will be bulletproof. All right, another tip from Zigzag Shop. See ya. Another reason I mark all my stuff, okay, what I've done is I marked my rod caps, okay, so when I disassemble them from the factory, I know which way to actually put them back together and label everything. And then keep your rods all facing the same direction. Keep everything uniform as you're assembling everything. This way, everything's marked off, and go down the checklist. Keep a checklist. I got a notepad where I keep all my notes. So after you're done weighing all your rods and pistons and everything, and you start your assembly, everything's marked off. Just makes everything easier, simple, and keeps everything uniform. Just another tip from Zigzag Shop. See ya. Also, when you're putting the assembly grease on there, you don't need to be shy with it. Put a nice thick coating on it because it will melt away when you do your first startup. Make sure you're working with a clean surface and line everything up, and don't torque them bolts down until you know you got proper clearance and play with everything, all right, and you'll be good. It's all right. What I like to do is when I'm assembling them, I like to snug them down with the mini ratchet before you torque them down. Make sure you got good play, nothing's binding, okay? And then once everything's together and you know nothing's binding, then you go ahead and take and you torque them down to the torque specs that is required by SCAT. It's right here. They'll send it to you if you order your stuff from SCAT. So I definitely recommend getting everything from SCAT because, of course, they're the #1 leading VW racing company. Alright, so there you go. It's all done. The crank is assembled. The ARP bolts, they called for 50 foot-pounds of torque. So now that everything's all torqued down, it's time to set it down in to see, because somebody had mentioned to me about the ARP head on the bolt stands off a little high. So before you assemble the block, drop it in there with your cam and your lifters, and do a once spin around and make sure you got proper clearance, which I'll get back to you and walk you through on that. Alright, till the next time, you guys have a great day. See ya from Zigzag Shop.